Lesson number 10 for Thursday, August 31st. The One Flesh Model of Marriage. Study the creation narrative of Genesis 2:15 to 25. What happens in the story before the statement concerning a husband and wife being one flesh? 2:24 of Genesis says, "Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cling to his wife, and they shall be one flesh." A key to applying Paul's counsel to wives and husbands is to see his citation of Genesis 2:24 as the culmination of it. As he meditates on the creation story of Genesis, Paul considers the needs of Christian congregations and the health of family relationships within them. He hears in Genesis 2:24 a message that echoes down through time. By divine design, marriage is intended to be a one-flesh relationship with sexual unity mirrored in emotional and spiritual unity, and emotional and spiritual unity bringing meaning to the sexual relationship. Note that in choosing Genesis 2:24, Paul elects a statement about marriage made before the fall and applies it to the relationships between Christian husbands and wives. In our distinctly post-fall world, rampant exploitation of the sexual relationship between a man and a woman reveals how deeply entrenched in modern cultures is the idea that the sexual union represents subjugation of the woman. Paul argues that the sexual relationship as reflected in Genesis is not one of subjugation, but of union. It does not symbolize or actualize the dominance of the male, but the union of husband and wife, so much so that they are and become one flesh. We may look to both Ephesians 5:21 to 33 and Genesis 2:24 then for an important countercultural and corrective theology of marriage and sexuality. In this same context, Paul in the next verse talks about a profound mystery. This includes both sides of the double metaphor Paul has been discussing: Christian marriage understood in the light of Christ's relationship with his church, and Christ's relationship with his church understood in the light of Christian marriage. Christian marriage is elevated by comparing it to the relationship between Christ and the church. In addition, by thinking of the church's relationship to Christ through the lens of a caring Christian marriage, believers gain new clarity about their shared relationship to Christ. If married, how can you seek to more fully implement these principles in your marriage? From the book This Day with God, page 335, it says, "If the hearts were kept tender in our families, if there were a noble, generous deference to each other's tastes and opinions, if the wife were seeking opportunities to express her love by actions in her courtesies to her husband, and and the husband manifesting the same consideration and kindly regard for the wife, the children would partake of the same spirit. The influence would pervade the households, and what a tide of misery would be saved in families. Men would not go from home to find happiness, and women would not pine for love and lose courage and self-respect and become lifelong invalids. Only one life lease is granted us, and with care, painstaking, and self-control, it can be made endurable, pleasant, and even happy. From the book The Faith I Live By, page 255, it says, "True love is not a strong, fiery, impetuous passion. On the contrary, it is calm and deep in its nature. It looks beyond mere externals and is attracted by qualities alone. It is wise and discriminating, and its devotion is real and abiding. Hearts that are filled with the love of Christ can never get very far apart. Religion is love, and a Christian home is one where love reigns and finds expression in words and acts of thoughtful kindness and gentle courtesy." From the book The Adventist Home, page 114, it says, "The two who unite their interest in life will have distinct characteristics and individual responsibilities. The wife is to grace the family circle as a wife and companion to a wise husband. At every step, she should inquire, 'How shall I make my influence Christ-like in my home?' The husband should let his wife know that he appreciates her work. The wife is to respect her husband, but the husband is to love and cherish his wife, and as their marriage vow unites them as one, so their belief in Christ should make them one in him. What can be more pleasing to God than to see those who enter into the marriage relation seek together to learn of Jesus and to become more and more imbued with His Spirit? Have a blessed day.